The phone buzzed on the kitchen counter, its screen glowing in the dim light of our quiet home, and I froze. It wasn't the notification itself, a single text, innocuous at first glance, but the name that flashed across it, Mark. My wife's ex. The man who'd left scars on her heart long before I met her. My stomach churned as I stared at the phone. Her phone left carelessly by the sink. Why was he texting her now, after years of silence? I didn't want to look, didn't want to shatter the fragile trust we'd built, but my hand moved before my mind could stop it. I met Sarah 4 years ago at a bookstore of all places. She was tucked into a corner, flipping through a worn copy of Jane Eyre. Her brow furrowed in concentration. Her dark hair fell over one shoulder, and her fingers traced the pages with a tenderness that made me pause. I don't know why I approached her. Maybe it was the way she seemed so lost in her own world. Or maybe it was the faint sadness in her eyes that called to something in me. We talked for hours that day about books, life, anything but the past. She didn't mention Mark then, not until months later, when the weight of her history came spilling out over wine and tears. Mark had been her first love, her high school sweetheart turned nightmare. He was charming at first, she said, but his charm hid a vicious streak. He'd belittle her, control her, make her feel small. Once he'd grabbed her wrist so hard it bruised, and when she tried to leave, he'd begged her to stay, promising change that never came. She escaped him after college, but the damage lingered in her hesitancy, her quiet moments of self-doubt. I swore I'd be different. I'd be the man who helped her heal, who showed her what love could be. And for 4 years I thought I had. We married 2 years ago, a small ceremony by the lake where we'd had our first real date. Sarah's smile that day was brighter than the sun reflecting off the water, and I felt like the luckiest man alive. We built a life together, a cozy house in the suburbs, late-night talks about our dreams, lazy Sundays tangled in bed. But there were moments, fleeting and sharp, where I'd catch her staring out the window, her face clouded with something she wouldn't name. I chalked it up to her past, to Mark's lingering shadow. I never imagined she'd let that shadow back into our lives. The text was simple. I miss you. Can we talk? My heart pounded as I read it, my thumb hovering over the screen. I shouldn't have looked. I knew it was a violation, a crack in the trust we'd nurtured. But the name Mark burned in my mind, conjuring images of the man who'd hurt her. The man she'd sworn she'd never speak to again. Why was he reaching out? And why hadn't she told me? I set the phone down, my hands trembling, and waited for her to come home. The house felt too quiet, the ticking of the clock on the wall amplifying my unease. When Sarah walked through the door, her arms full of grocery bags, she smiled at me. A smile that used to melt my doubts. Now it felt like a mask. Hey babe, she said, kicking off her shoes. You okay? You look pale. I swallowed, my throat tight. Your phone buzzed earlier. It was Mark. Her face froze, the grocery bags slipping slightly in her arms. She set them down slowly, her eyes darting to the counter where her phone lay. Mark? She said, her voice a touch too high. That's weird. I haven't heard from him in years. Then why is he texting you? I asked, trying to keep my tone even. He said he misses you. Wants to talk. She laughed, but it was brittle, forced. Probably just him being drunk or stupid. I'll block him. I wanted to believe her. I wanted to let it go, to trust that this was nothing. But something in her eyes, a flicker of guilt, maybe, kept me rooted to the spot. Sarah, I said quietly. Are you sure there's nothing going on? Her shoulders stiffened, and she turned away, busying herself with the groceries. Of course not. Why would you even ask that? Because I saw the text. Because I know you. Because I'm terrified of losing you. The words stayed trapped in my chest, but the silence between us grew heavy, suffocating. That night, we ate dinner in near silence, the clink of forks against plates louder than our conversation. I couldn't shake the feeling that she was hiding something. Over the next few days, I became a man I didn't recognize. I checked her phone when she was in the shower, scrolling through her messages with a sickening mix of shame and desperation. There were more texts from Mark, ones she hadn't told me about. I can't stop thinking about you. I know I messed up, but I've changed. And her replies, brief, cautious, but not dismissive. I'm married now, Mark. We can't do this. My heart sank with every word. She hadn't blocked him. She hadn't shut him out. She was engaging, even if only a little. I confronted her again, this time with less restraint. Why are you still talking to him? I demanded, holding up her phone. Her eyes widened, then narrowed, a flash of anger crossing her face. You went through my phone? She snapped. That's low, Ethan. Don't turn this on me. I shot back. You're the one texting your abusive ex behind my back. What am I supposed to think? She crossed her arms, her jaw tight. It's not what you think. He reached out, and I didn't know how to handle it. I felt bad for him. Felt bad for him. My voice rose, disbelief searing through me. He hurt you, Sarah. He made your life hell. And now you're what, entertaining him? I'm not entertaining him, she cried, tears welling in her eyes. I don't know. He sounded so broken. I thought maybe I could help him, show him I'm stronger now. Her words hit me like a punch. She wasn't just talking to him. She was trying to prove something to him. To the man who'd broken her. And where did that leave me? The man who'd spent years trying to build her up. To love her through her pain? The betrayal cut deeper than I could have imagined. It wasn't just the texts. It was the secrecy, the way she'd chosen to let him back into her life without telling me. I couldn't sleep, couldn't focus at work. Every time I looked at her, I saw the woman I loved, but also a stranger who'd kept a piece of herself hidden. I started digging. I don't know what possessed me. Anger, maybe, or a need to understand. I found Mark's social media, his LinkedIn, his life laid bare online. He was a real estate agent now, flashy and self-assured, posting about his success, while ignoring the trail of pain he'd left behind. I remembered the stories Sarah had told me, his temper, his manipulation, the way he'd made her feel worthless. And now he was trying to worm his way back into her life. I couldn't let it stand. One evening, while Sarah was out with friends, I made a call. A friend of a friend worked in real estate, someone with connections and a knack for digging up dirt. Can you look into someone for me? I asked, my voice low, as if saying it quietly made it less wrong. I gave him Mark's name, his company, everything I knew. Just see what you can find. What he found was a goldmine. Mark had been cutting corners, falsifying documents, skimming profits from deals. It wasn't hard to connect the dots, to pass the information to the right people, anonymously of course. Within weeks, Mark's world unraveled. His company fired him, his clients dropped him, and whispers of legal trouble started circling. I didn't feel joy watching it happen, but I felt something, vindication, maybe, or justice. Then he called me. I don't know how he got my number, but his voice was frantic, pleading. Ethan, please, you don't understand. I'm losing everything. I know I messed up with Sarah, but I'm not that guy anymore. I'm begging you, call it off. I listened, my jaw clenched, as he rambled about his mistakes, his regrets. You don't get to beg, I said finally, my voice cold. You hurt her. You don't get to come back and play the victim. I hung up, my hands shaking, but a weight lifted from my chest. When I told Sarah what I'd done, her reaction wasn't what I expected. She didn't thank me or call me her hero. She cried, not out of relief but out of anger. You had no right, she said, her voice trembling. I was handling it. I was trying to close that chapter myself. Handling it. I scoffed. You were texting him, Sarah. You let him back in. And you went behind my back, she shot back. You didn't trust me to deal with it. You think I'm too weak to stand up to him, don't you? Her words stung because they weren't entirely wrong. I hadn't trusted her, not fully. I'd seen her talking to Mark and assumed the worst, assumed she was slipping back into his orbit. But maybe I'd underestimated her strength, her need to face her past on her own terms. We're trying to rebuild now, but it's slow. The trust we broke, both of us, left cracks that won't heal overnight. I still love her, more than anything, but love feels different now, sharper, laced with the ache of betrayal and the weight of my own choices. Mark's gone, his life in ruins, but the cost was higher than I expected. Sometimes I wonder if I made him lose everything, or if I lost something too.